could you name your London Assembly members, realistically?
Yeah, not off the top of my head.
Could you, as a TV producer or a Times radio producer, if you had Sadiq on in the morning, who would you go to for the opposition comment in the afternoon? And the idea is that by creating that one job, that one role, that with the power to do their own research in a similar way that the Leader of the Opposition does in Commons, that you would increase that accountability at the mayoral level.
Now, the number of London boroughs should be reduced by over half, and Sir Sadiq Khan should face an opposition mayor, according to latest recommendations from the public services think tank Restate. Instead of the existing 32 boroughs, the report suggests around 10 or 12 local authorities, giving each leader an official role in the London Assembly, which would in turn be given greater power. The report's authors made reference to the local councils in places like New York, Berlin and Tokyo for examples of how London could do better. Well, the Times' London editor, Andy Silvester, has been looking into this. Hello, Andy.
Morning. Afternoon.
Narrowly. Afternoon. Why do this? Is London local governance particularly inefficient?
There are two issues that the report authors state which it's difficult to disagree with. One, London has a real patchwork of boroughs, most of which are far smaller than equivalents in the rest of the country. So most London boroughs, average population somewhere in the region of 250,000 or lower. Rest of the country, it's 500,000 plus. And the idea being, obviously, you get economies of scale when you're dealing at that size. Although you want decisions made locally, there is a pretty strong argument that, for instance, Lambeth and Southwark, take two examples, don't have sufficiently different, makeups or populations that those could be run together. You get a degree of back office savings, but really the idea is to create powerful boroughs that you then elevate into the London Assembly and turn it from what has become effectively a bit of a talking shop and effectively reinvigorate local democracy. And by doing that, you strengthen London's democratic governance, and that gives you a stronger argument then to make to Whitehall that London should be able to keep more of the revenue it raises here in London and spend it here in London on the problems that London has. And that's effectively the argument.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like all those people who accuse me of living in Islington are going to be right if this comes to pass. Look, what would this mean for the mayor? How would the London Mayoral Authority be impacted? Would it be boosted or subdued?
One of the things that is being discussed here is the potential to set up an opposition mayor, an official sort of leader of the opposition. So right now you've got this horse trading between Susan Hall, who runs the London Conservatives, you've got Zach Polanski, who's a Green London Assembly member, as well as obviously everything else. And the argument is that because no one is given that official job description of Leader of the Opposition, the mayor isn't adequately scrutinised, and indeed the report states this very directly, that Sir Sadiq Khan does not face enough official opposition with the... We're talking about sort of de facto politics more than we are de jure politics, because all of the London Assembly should work together. It should be a democratic body that holds the mayor to account, but in a de facto world, could you name your London Assembly members, realistically?
Not off the top of my head.
Could you, as a TV producer or a Times radio producer, if you had Sadiq on in the morning, who would you go to for the opposition comment in the afternoon? And the idea is that by creating that one job, that one role, that with the power to do their own research in a similar way that the Leader of the Opposition does in Commons, that you would increase that accountability at the mayoral level. And again, we come back to the point that when you've got a more mature democracy within London, 9 million people, by the way, bigger than a lot of European countries, so once you've got that stronger democratic process, that strengthens the argument to Whitehall to allow London to make more of its own decisions about itself, and fundamentally keep more of the cash that is raised here in the capital to fix London's problems.
And look, just finally then, the other cities that the report compares London to, New York, Berlin and Tokyo primarily, are they all cities that seem to do local governance better, and do they have a different relationship with central government as a result? Massively
different, and it all comes down to funding. So although London is a significant net contributor to the Treasury's coffers, only London, the South East is. That money goes into the Treasury now mostly, and then it comes back out after going through a lot of spreadsheets and Treasury brain. London and its local boroughs effectively therefore get 70% of the cash they spend every year from a central government grant. Now in New York that is 26%, Berlin slightly less, Tokyo is as low as 6%. So what you've got is almost, not quite city-states, I don't want to use that word because it scares people, but there is a fundamentally different relationship there. What the report's authors say is that those cities are therefore run better because there is more democratic accountability, because people fundamentally care when their money is being spent in a way that they don't when there is a arguably figurehead mayor, and that therefore it improves the relationship with central government as well, because decisions are being made at a local area.
Finally, has Sadiq Khan himself said anything about this? Is he meant to be in favour?
He's not in favour of an official opposition mayor. There was a statement from the Mayor of London office which said, effectively, we're always looking at ways to improve governance and we'd like more fiscal firepower, but reorganisation is not on the table.
Such a polite way to tell people to go away. Andy Silvester, thank you very much indeed. Good to have you here as always. Let's take a look now at some of the other stories making the news this